do you understand English perfectly? You know the vocabulary, you understand the question, but then the second it is your turn to speak, you just, well, freeze.
Yeah, your mind just goes entirely blank.
Exactly. Today, we are going to show you how to respond faster, even when you really need time to think.
Right, because by the end of this deep dive, you will know 5 natural expressions that will help you completely avoid that awkward silence.
We are looking at a really fascinating guide for intermediate and advanced learners, and it basically proves that responding quickly does not actually mean answering immediately.
No, not at all. It is all about managing that space between the question and your answer.
Right. So, to start, let us just do a quick thought experiment. Picture this. We are at a networking event, and I just walk up to you and ask, what do you enjoy most about your work in marketing?
And if I have not rehearsed an answer for that, the panic just sets in. I'd probably just say, I don't know.
And then trying to be helpful, I might ask a more specific question like, do you think social media has made marketing more creative?
And I just grasp at the easiest word and say, yes.
In what way?
Sorry. I know, but I can't explain.
What about artificial intelligence? Like, will it replace marketing jobs?
Maybe. Because technology.
Right. The classic because technology answer. It is just painful.
It really is. The answers just shrink into these tiny fragments. All your nuance just disappears completely.
And the craziest part is you understood every single word I asked.
Exactly. I probably have super complex opinions about AI and social media, but I just could not translate them into spoken words fast enough.
So why does that happen? Because the immediate instinct is to just blame yourself, right? Like, oh, my English is just bad. I need to study more grammar.
Which is a huge trap. The source material makes this really vital distinction. The freeze is not a lack of knowledge. It is an issue of processing speed. It is the difference between recognition and retrieval.
Okay, break that down for us.
Well, listening to someone or reading an article is recognition. It is passive. You hear the word technology. Your brain recognizes it and says, yep, I know that.
It's not take much energy.
Exactly. But speaking is retrieval. You have to actively dig through your mental filing cabinet, find the words, build the grammar, and, actually pronounce it all in milliseconds.
That is a massive cognitive load. It actually reminds me of reading a really beautifully written menu at a nice restaurant.
Oh, I like this.
Yeah, like that is the recognition part. I know what a seared scallop is. I can imagine how it tastes perfectly.
Right, but speaking is like being dragged into the kitchen.
Yes. Handed a pan and they're like, cook the scallop from scratch right now while a timer ticks down.
And that ticking timer is the pressure to be fluent.
Exactly. When someone is staring at me, waiting for an answer, my working memory just gets flooded by panic. In that chaotic kitchen, I drop all the ingredients.
Right. You did not forget what a scallop is.
No.
Your brain just short circuits because there are too many demands at once. Linguists call this a bottleneck. Your brain can only process so much information at a time. So when you demand an immediate, flawless answer from yourself,
the anxiety just eats up half your working memory.
Precisely. The resources you need to retrieve vocabulary are totally blocked. So you freeze.
But wait, if I want to sound fluent, doesn't deliberately stalling make me look, I don't know, less capable? Won't a native speaker get frustrated?
That is a super common fear, but it is basically a myth. We think fluent speakers are just these machines that instantly generate perfect paragraphs.
Right.
But native speakers need thinking time too. The bottleneck happens to everyone, especially with unexpected questions.
The difference is just that they do not go silent. They don't give you that panicked stare.
Exactly. They manage the pause. They use specific phrases to signal, hey, I heard you, my gears are turning, an answer is coming.
So fluency is not the absence of pauses.
No, it is the ability to handle pauses naturally.
Okay, so let's get into the toolbox. The source material gives us 5 core expressions to manage these pauses. What is the first one?
The first one handles what we call the sudden spotlight. Someone asks a question, and your brain just needs a second to shift from listening to speaking. The phrase is just, that's a good question.
That is so simple. Why does that work so well?
It is a pressure release valve. Socially, it validates the other person, but internally, you are buying yourself a 2-second head start.
You're giving your brain time to rummage through the filing cabinet.
Exactly. But, and the source warns about this, you have to read the room. Do not use this for simple facts.
Right. If someone asks, what is your name? You don't stroke your chin and say, that's a good question.
Yeah, please don't do that, unless you actually forgot your name.
Fair enough. So what about questions that are factual but still catch you off guard?
That is where the second tool comes in. Let me think for a second. Or, let me think about that for a moment.
That feels really direct. You are literally telling them you're hitting the pause button.
It projects a lot of confidence, actually.
Yeah.
It is great for business meetings because it shows you are not afraid of silence. You are commanding it.
But in a fast-paced meeting, if I say that and pause, won't someone else just talk over me?
Not if you deliver it right. You don't whisper it at your shoes. You say it at a normal volume. Keep eye contact. Maybe hold up a hand slightly. You are holding the floor. But,
There's a catch.
yes, you must eventually speak. It is a bridge, not a parking lot.
Right, you can't say, let me think for a second, and then just stare out the window for 5 minutes.
Exactly. Which brings us to the perfection trap. This happens when you freeze because you think your answer has to be a flawless academic thesis.
Oh, the pressure to sound smart is paralyzing.
It really is. So the third tool is brilliant for this. It is off the top of my head.
Oh, I love that one. It just changes the stakes completely.
It really does. You are openly stating, hey, this is an unedited instinctual response.
It is basically a verbal disclaimer. Like, this is a rough draft, don't hold me to it.
And for a language learner, that gives you so much psychological safety. It removes the burden of perfection. You can just communicate without fear of making a mistake.
Okay, what if the question is deeper, more philosophical?
Tool number 4. I haven't thought about it that way before, but
It is a longer phrase.
yes. And that is the secret. By the time you finish saying it, your brain has had several precious seconds to fetch the vocabulary for the actual answer.
Plus, it sounds really honest. Like, if I ask, do you think learning a language changes your personality? You don't have to pretend you're an expert.
Right. You just say, I haven't thought about it that way before, but I do feel more extroverted in English. You are inviting the listener into your thought process.
Developing the opinion out loud, that is exactly what native speakers do.
Precisely. Now, the final hurdle is the overwhelmingly broad question. Like, why do some people succeed at learning English and others fail?
Right. Your brain freezes because there are 50 right answers.
Total overload. So, tool number 5 narrows the scope. If I had to give a short answer, I'd say,
But wait, aren't you ignoring all the nuance if you do that?
only at the very beginning. It is a tactical move. If I had to give a short answer, I'd say, forces you to pick just one lane.
So instead of trying to explain grammar, motivation, and psychology all at once,
You just say, if I had to give a short answer, I'd say consistency.
then once you start talking, the bottleneck clears.
Exactly. The momentum is there, your anxiety drops, and then you can naturally add all those other details.
Okay, let's put this all together. Let's run that exact same networking scenario again, but this time, use the expressions.
Okay, I am ready.
So, what do you enjoy most about creating educational content?
That's a good question. I think I enjoy the creative problem solving. You have to figure out what people want and capture their attention.
Do you think social media has made it more creative?
I haven't thought about it that way before, but yes, I think it has. Brands are doing short videos and much more personal storytelling.
Are there any disadvantages to that?
Let me think for a second. I'd say the main disadvantage is the relentless pressure to always be producing. People focus on quantity over quality.
What about AI? Will it replace marketing professionals?
If I had to give a short answer, I'd say it replaces tasks, but not the profession. It can analyze data, but human empathy is irreplaceable.
Wow. The difference is night and day.
The flow was totally different. But here is the grand takeaway. My vocabulary in that second conversation was exactly the same as the first one.
You had the exact same knowledge.
Yes, the only difference was how I managed the cognitive load.
You stopped the bottleneck.
Yeah.
But, and the source makes a big point of this, do not try to memorize all 5 of these
Oh, no,
today.
absolutely not. Trying to remember a list of 5 phrases while stressed will just create a new bottleneck.
Right. Just pick 2 that feel natural to you. Practice them until they are a reflex. When panic hits, your brain needs to grab them automatically.
Muscle memory is everything.
So here is a challenge for you, the listener, straight from the source material. Sometime today, pause the video or whatever you are doing and speak out loud for 30 seconds to answer this question. What do you normally do when your mind goes blank during an English conversation?
And the rule is you have to start your answer with one of these expressions, like, that's a good question, or off the top of my head.
And do it without writing anything down. Practice organizing your thoughts in real time.
And, hey, if you try this and you find you are still giving very short one-word replies, even after buying time,
Then you definitely need to watch our next deep dive, which is called Stop Giving One-Word Answers in English, because buying time is just step 1.
Right. Expanding your thoughts is step two.
But before we go, consider this. We have been talking about using these tools for a second language. But think about high-stakes moments in your native language, like a salary negotiation or a really tense argument.
Your working memory bottlenecks then, too.
Exactly. The pressure to respond perfectly is universal. So could mastering the thoughtful pause, learning to say, let me think about that for a moment, instead of just blurting out the first defensive thing, could that actually make you a better communicator in your native language too?
Is a really powerful concept to mull over.
It really is. Try it out, and we will see you next time.